การเพิ่มหน่วยงานหรือว่าการขยายธุรกิจเนี่ยหลายคนก็จะห่วงในเรื่องของต้นทุนที่เพิ่มขึ้นนะคะหลายคนมองว่าการลงทุนในระบบ IT เนี่ยมีค่าใช้จ่ายที่สูงนะคะโดยเฉพาะอย่างยิ่งถ้าหากว่าเป็นการลงทุนเพื่อที่จะเริ่มต้นธุรกิจบางคนก็อาจจะมองว่ายังไม่ได้ก่อให้เกิดรายได้ที่ชัดเจนมันจะคุ้มไหมนะคะอาจจะทำให้องค์กรจะต้องแบกรับต้นทุนค่อนข้างสูงแต่เมื่อองค์กรได้เปลี่ยนมาใช้ระบบ Cloud Computing เนี่ยก็จะมีต้นทุนที่ต่ำลงนะคะทำให้การตัดสินใจต่อยอดทางธุรกิจนั้นเป็นไปได้ง่ายยิ่งขึ้นแล้วก็ไม่ต้องลงทุนทางด้านระบบ IT ด้วยค่ะก็สามารถตัดสินใจเลือกใช้บริการ Cloud Service Provider ได้หรือว่าเหล่าบรรดาผู้ให้บริการ Cloud ทั้งหลายนะคะซึ่ง Cloud Computing นี่แหละค่ะก็จะเป็นอีกหนึ่งตัวเลือกนะคะที่ให้องค์กรสามารถประหยัดต้นทุนทางด้าน IT ได้ในระยะยาวและด้วยประโยชน์ที่เด่นชัดในด้านนี้นะคะก็จึงอยากจะให้ทุกท่านค่ะรับฟังแล้วก็ทำความเข้าใจเกี่ยวกับโครงข่ายอัจฉริยะผ่านการบรรยายหัวข้อรองรับการเปลี่ยนผ่านไปสู่โลกดิจิทัลด้วยโครงข่ายอัจฉริยะ Hybrid Infrastructure นะคะโดยคุณราฮูล มาเธอร์รองประธานอำนวยการฝ่ายขายธุรกิจลูกค้าองค์กรประจำภาคพื้นเอเชียแปซิฟิกบริษัท Tata Communications and now I would like to take this opportunity to invite our next speaker Mr. Rahul Mathur from Tata Communications
Hi, good evening. So I know I'm between you and the raffle or the lucky draw, so I'll try to make it in half an hour. So thank you for giving me the time to talk about how cloud is transforming the business and how you saw in the last presentation the advantages of moving to cloud, but what are the challenges in deploying cloud, especially in this part of the world. So we'll talk about the pervasiveness of digital transformation. How do you transform to become a cloud-ready organization? How does digital transformation is cloud enablement? And then how do we enable unified communication? And then in the end, I will talk about who we are. So we all know that digital transformation started with native digital organizations. So these are the companies that were born in the cloud 5 years, 10 years ago, and they have all become very big names. But digital transformation is not stopping at these companies. Over the last 2 to 3 years especially, all the traditional companies have started adopting digital transformation in a very big way. And right now, it is the biggest trend that is happening in the world. So companies in all industries are using digital for enhancing their performance to get closer to their customers. And it is no longer the new age companies that are transforming digitally. It is almost impossible in today's world to be competitive without embarking this journey. And that's where companies like Microsoft are playing big and enabling that whole thing for all the organizations. As the companies are moving to the digital journey, the whole value chain is changing, whether it's in manufacturing or in hospitality or healthcare or any industry. The whole value chain is moving away from the traditional raw material supplier, R&D, and siloed organizations to more connected organizations. With the most important shift that is happening is now the customer is right in the middle. And all the departments and all the functions and the partnerships and the ecosystem are all have the ability to work together to serve the customer in the most effective way and improving the customer experience. And that's becoming a huge differentiator as we move to the cloud and to the digital journey. A lot of the digital transformation is actually happening because of the cloud. And because the cloud deployments have become easier, it is much easier to deploy services, it is much easier to consume services, and pretty much everything is starting to become available as a service, whether it is analytics, whether it's infrastructure, applications, IoT, collaboration, security, everything is now moving to cloud and is available on a consumption mode and available as a service. However, as cloud is getting adopted in organizations, the traditional way the networks were created are no longer fit for business. So traditionally, the organizations had their own data center, they had their own offices, they had some branch offices, and they were all connected through a private network. So the CIOs in those organizations had full control, full visibility, class of service, security, and all of that available to them. So they knew exactly what is going on in their data centers. They knew exactly what is going on in their network. They had full control of that. However, with the advent of cloud, and especially how it started when the businesses started buying cloud on demand. So they went and used their credit card to buy some compute power on Azure, or they rolled out Salesforce.com. The traditional networks started to become very, very complex. Internet started to become very important because a lot of companies were accessing these cloud services, or are still accessing these cloud services using the internet that they currently have. Obviously, what it meant for the organization was loss of control, lack of visibility, security challenges. SLAs are not met because internet does not have any SLA. So as companies started moving to cloud and trying to access that cloud using internet, the performance was inconsistent. The whole complexity around hybrid cloud. So some applications are sitting on premise, some applications are sitting on cloud. How will it all work together? So all these challenges started coming up as companies started moving to cloud. Now, the promise of cloud is very, very powerful, as we saw in the last presentation itself. It gives you speed, it gives you flexibility, it gives you, usage-based models. But if we do not take care of the network underlying the cloud, the user experience is not there. The customer experience could, get impacted, and you may not be able to unlock the full value of the cloud. So we saw at Tata Communications, we saw this as a big opportunity a few years ago, and we started working on developing solutions, the network solutions, to enable cloud, to enable companies like Microsoft to really become big and start moving critical applications to the cloud. So we launched 2 services. The first one that I'll talk about very briefly is called ISO Private Connect. So what we have done is we have gone and connected all of Microsoft Azure cloud data centers on our network. And other top cloud providers are also connected to our network. Companies like Salesforce.com are connected on our network. And we partner with Microsoft to provide this private connectivity between their cloud infrastructure and the organizations that consume the cloud. The second service that we launched was called ISO Internet WAN. So we are one of the largest ISPs globally. So about 25% of world's internet actually runs on our network. So we provided a service on internet, which is a higher quality of internet, where we provide deterministic routing and SLA-based internet. Now, internet is becoming critical, as I mentioned earlier, as most applications are being accessed over internet on the cloud. So these are the 2 services that we have been working on for the last 18 months, and we have launched it. This gives the end customers full visibility, control, security, low latency, higher bandwidth, and SLA, both on the private network, which is the ISO Private Connect, as well as on Internet WAN, ISO Internet WAN, which is on internet. And I will show you how organizations are using these services to really unlock the value of the cloud that they have, so that the network is actually driving the usage and the utilization of the cloud and delivering the promise of the cloud. So it's a quick representation of the approach of hybrid WAN, hybrid networks. So as you can see on the service layer, traditionally we had data centers, whether on-premise or third-party data center, which is the second one, which is co-location and managed hosting with a third-party provider. Then we moved to private cloud. Then we have public cloud like Microsoft Azure, cloud applications like Office 365, and the security. At the other end, you have got enterprise estate. So you have got your headquarters, your production sites, branch offices, remote users, because that's another trend that has happened, that the users have become mobile in enterprises. mobile workforces, and even customers. So as we move to cloud, the whole ecosystem involves customers also accessing your applications on the cloud. So how did these two, the service layer and the enterprise estate connect to each other? Traditionally, it was a private network. So MPLS, Ethernet, those kind of networks were the traditional networks. Then came the internet. So as I said, as companies started buying cloud based on the business needs, they were using internet as the default medium to access cloud. But internet, by definition, is without an SLA, and the predictability is not there. And that's where we then launched the ISO Internet WAN to make internet fit for business. So depending on the company's architecture, this is the kind of a hybrid environment that they go for. So we have a big partnership with Microsoft on two aspects. So one is what we call the cloud enablement. So how do we provide connectivity between Microsoft Azure Cloud and Office 365 Cloud and the end enterprise in a private and secure connection to really unlock the value of the cloud as and when the companies start moving critical applications to the cloud. As long as it is peripheral application, probably internet was okay. But as companies start to move critical applications, a private connectivity is required to really unlock the value of the cloud. And the second area where we work very closely with Microsoft is to unlock the Skype for Business E5 solution that Microsoft has. So what is Private Connect and how does it work? So Microsoft has a service called ExpressRoute, and we are connected through a private connection with all of Microsoft's data centers globally. And if a customer wants to deploy Microsoft Office, Microsoft Azure Cloud, we can provide an end-to-end private connection in a seamless way wherever you are connected with the cloud. So if you are accessing it from here to the cloud in Singapore or Hong Kong or Frankfurt, depending on where the workloads are, depending on whether you are an MNC or a Thai-based large organization, we can provide this connectivity. And this is a private connectivity, and this really improves the performance of the cloud applications hosted on Azure. The second service I spoke about very briefly, the ISO Internet WAN. So what we have done is, because we are the top 5 ISPs in all 5 countries, we have gone ahead and done partnerships with multiple ISPs around the world. And now we provide this private or enhanced internet with SLAs in 1,500 cities in 80 countries, where we provide deterministic routing, which what it means is if your packet leaves your office in Thailand, we know exactly how this packet will be delivered to a certain data center or the other end that you have, it should go. So that's a deterministic routing. There are no packet losses. There is latency is also guaranteed on internet, which is not available through the normal internet that we buy, right? The broadband services that typically organizations buy. And we provide end-to-end SLA. So this actually replaces a traditional MPLS network using internet's capability of reach to connect to these cloud services. So here is an example of a customer, and they were moving their applications from their traditional data centers that you see in dark blue to Azure and other cloud services like Salesforce and all that. So as they were moving their applications to that, their traditional network was not working. So they took we designed a tiered architecture for them, where their data centers were sitting on MPLS, and the red lines that you see are the ISO Private Connect. So all these sites are connected on a private network to the Azure cloud. Their other sites were primarily on the MPLS and backup on ISO Internet WAN. The advantage of this architecture beyond the private connectivity to the cloud was that on the single connection to these offices, they were able to connect to all the cloud services that they were going after, whether it was Azure or Salesforce or other cloud applications. So that advantage they got, and their performance has gone up quite significantly in terms of the applications that they're hosting and how the applications are getting consumed. Here is another example of a customer. This is again a European multinational which has got big presence in Asia. And they had deployed Office 365 globally. So they were expecting huge productivity gains in their employees as they rolled out Office 365 given the promise of the cloud. But what they saw in Asia before this network was that the Asian employees were not able to access the email servers, the entire suite of Office 365 because it was hosted somewhere in Europe. So we moved them to ISO Internet WAN, which is an internet with SLA, with predictability. And this is the solution that they have deployed. It's a very simple solution. And it connects all their sites to Office 365 over a predictable internet. And this has improved their productivity in Asia quite significantly. And they are now rolling it out globally with us. So that was on the network side. On the unified communication side of things, Skype for Business is becoming very, very popular service to replace not only just presence and instant messaging, but also to replace IP telephony. But it is posing some challenges, right? So how do you reconcile premise deployment with cloud? So the E5 license sits in the cloud, but you also have some infrastructure on premise, right? So which includes your PSTN calling. So the idea here is that if you're deploying this Skype for Business for one location, then you can put your own connector in that appliance in one office. But the moment the deployment has to happen across multiple geographies or multiple offices, that becomes a very complex solution because you have to deploy multiple devices, multiple appliances, manage all of that. So we provide this whole cloud connector we provide this cloud as a managed cloud connector in the cloud, which means that as you deploy your Skype for Business across multiple offices in multiple geographies, the entire connectivity with your on-premise infrastructure is a managed service on the cloud. So not only that, we also provide it as a fully managed service in terms of video interoperability. So if you have got video estate working on Link or Office 365 and other traditional video, we can provide the interoperability around that. The local numbers, the international calling, all those services are fully integrated with Skype for Business. So in that sense, it's a full enterprise telephony functionality, and we can extend the services beyond what Skype for Business gives in terms of interoperability around video conferencing and other services. So the solution looks something like this, where once we have this managed cloud connector in the services from Tata Communications, you can actually start making your outbound calling using your Skype for Business. And we are one of the largest voice provider in the world. We carry about 60 billion minutes on our traffic, on our network. So we provide very, very attractive rates for outbound calling, for international calling, as well as we provide full PSTN replacement in 18 countries today, which means that once you launch or once you use the the managed cloud connector, it can fully replace your PSTN using Skype for Business. So which means it becomes a full PSTN and full IP telephony solution for the organizations. So you can do your conferencing, you can do your outbound calling, you can do local calling using this service. So you don't need any PRIs, you don't need any local telephony services, right? Apart from that, if you have also deployed Skype for Business on your mobile, then using your Skype for Business, you can also make international calls or outbound calls using your mobile device. You do not need to spend money when you are roaming on roaming calls. So those are the kind of big advantages that this complete solution provides. So Skype for Business already provides a lot of services. We enhance those services using our global SIP Connect and using our managed cloud connector. So I'll spend another maybe 5 minutes on who we are. So we are Tata Communications, and our goal is to power the platform economy in the internet and the globalization. So as I was mentioning earlier, we are networks. We are the largest submarine cable network provider in the world. We are the only provider who has a private cable that starts from, let's say, one part of the world and can go around the world and come back. So we are the largest submarine network owner and operator in the world. About 25% of world's internet traffic uses our network. We have invested $1.5 billion in this whole undersea cable infrastructure that I spoke about. We connect 4 out of 5 global mobile subscribers. So we are very big in the mobile services. We are the 5th largest wholesale internet provider in the world. And about our networks reach about 99.7% of the world GDP. So we are one of the largest telco provider in the world. We are in the Magic Quadrant, a Gartner Magic Quadrant for network services worldwide. And in terms of our positioning and how do we see ourselves, we are the digital transformation enabler. So as I mentioned earlier, we enable companies like Microsoft to really unlock the value of the cloud or unlock the value of the sky for business. So in today's world, in the digital world, on one side you have got the customers or consumers who want to gain quick, easy, and cost-effective access to a broad and relevant area of products and services. On the one side, they are the customers. On the other side, there are the people who create those services for the customers, right? They want to build deep relationships with existing customers and connect to new customers. And we are in the middle. We are enabling these things. We are enabling a consumer to consume Skype for business. We are enabling a customer or an enterprise to consume Azure in a cost-effective way to really unlock the value of that. So that's the role that we play. Through our network services, through our security services, through our unified communication services, and mobility services. So that's all I had for now. And I would maybe take some questions if there are any questions about us, this presentation. Okay. No questions, then thank you very much for your time. We have got our teams here, so if you have any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Rahul Mathur from Tata Communications. ตอนนี้เราก็ดำเนินมาจนถึงเซสชั่นสุดท้ายแล้วนะคะก็ต้องขอบพระคุณทุกท่านเลยค่ะที่มาร่วมฟังการสัมมนาสละเวลามานั่งฟังในวันนี้นะคะ